Yo, what is up, guys? I know I'm doing a little bit of a different video today. I'm doing a review instead of like my normal gameplay or highlights. It's because I really, really wanted to talk about the Gamesense meta. Can we just appreciate this packaging? This packaging is fucking beautiful. I don't know who did the art, but if it's an employee, they need a raise because this box art is actually amazing. I can't like give it to myself to put it away. I kind of like always leave it on this side of my desk. But there are a few issues with this mouse that I would like to talk about after the good features, of course. I'd rather talk about the good first than the bad. So in terms of click feeling, like the left and right click, super, super tactile, very, very nice. No pre or post travel that I can notice. Like in game, there's a little bit of post travel right there, but nothing that I ever have noticed. Actually, that was actually the first time I've ever noticed that. The tensioning is really nice, and then it just pops right back up. The scroll wheel, fantastic. I don't know what made companies not do what Gamesense is doing in terms of like using an actual click to actuate the scroll wheel, but the feeling of a GM 4.0 on a scroll wheel, it is pretty damn hard to not want to use this mouse just from the scroll wheel click alone. These side buttons are fantastic too. Every single click is GM 4.0s, and you can definitely feel it. Like they all feel very tactile, very responsive, very clicky. I haven't had any issues in terms of latency. Uh, and then I'd like to talk about the coding. The coding is very nice too. Somebody, I didn't pre-order it. I learned about the company too late, so I bought it off of Lethal. But somebody in their Discord was saying, GameSense asked what they thought about their mouse, the people who pre-ordered, and one guy said that there was fingerprints that would leave. I actually haven't had a single fingerprint leave, and I have very sweaty hands. I haven't had a single issue. I'm trying really hard to even. I haven't had a single issue with fingerprints, which is pretty interesting. It feels a little bit like the XM1 coating in terms of like grippiness, and then when I sweat, there's just a huge puddle of sweat, and you just wipe it off right after. It also happens on my XM1 that is right over here too. And then the cable's pretty good. Nothing to like write home about. It's not as good as an XM1 cable, but it is to the point where once I put it in a bungee, I don't notice it at all. Stress relief is pretty nice too. Not the highest angle, not as crazy as the new Zowie mice that have been coming out, but it's still very good. I don't expect a paracord cable on a company's first mouse. Like the fact that this cable is this good on their first mouse is pretty fucking insane to me. What else? What else? The shape. The shape they said was an S2 inspired shape, and you can definitely tell it's an S2 inspired shape. Very, very similar. Very like flat around the top, and then a very like smooth slope. It's not as aggressive as like an XM1, but it is very, very nice for claw, which is my main grip. It's like an aggressive claw. Now the bad things, sadly. I don't, you can't tell because of my camera angle, but the way I claw right like here, my palm like right here, I have to grip this part very, very hard and able to get like a really nice like controlled grip for myself. And if I loosen it, it feels like not like if I flick, it feels like a little shaky at the end. So sometimes I over flick, under flick, and then I have to micro adjust it to where I want to shoot. And that's not great because it does cause fatigue for me. And I have very tiny hands. Like I can't even, I don't think I can palm the super light. Like I can't fit my hand on fucking anything. And for a small-handed user like myself to not be able to get a nice comfortable grip on a small mouse, because it is pretty short. It's not as long or as tall as the super light. But it's just very narrow. It's just incredibly narrow. If it was a little bit wider, it would be so much more comfortable. It'd be so much more comfortable. And it's weird because I've never had a small mouse hurt my hand. Not hurt, but I've never been fatigued playing with a small mouse. The Orochi, which is an arguably much smaller mouse than this, was very, very comfortable too. It just the indent is very aggressive for me, like right over here. And then the mouse feet. The mouse feet are pretty good. I like I said, everything is their first try at something, and they got a lot right, and they did not get too much wrong, in my opinion. The feet are nice and rounded. They're not very sharp. I'm not sure how well it will pick up on the camera actually, but they are pretty rounded. The top is a little bit more rounded than the bottom, in my opinion. I do feel like they could have been bigger. Also, I prefer big mouse feet, especially on smaller mice, just because it provides a better glide. Makes it feel a little bit lighter, even though it really isn't. But I feel like if you just scrunched up these texts, you could have gotten like a nice, like at least couple centimeters or even millimeters more of mouse feet, especially on the top. It would have been very nice to see big mouse feet. And then the RGB. I don't feel like in 2021, for an enthusiast like myself, because I collect mice, I spend way too fucking much money on mice and mouse pads. Clearly, I have an XTEN pad for fuck's sake. But I don't feel like RGB is very necessary, especially when it adds weight. Like, just as an example, if all of this RGB up here and the indicator back here, if that could have shaven off like at least 5 grams, that would have been way better. Like to have no RGB in a 60-gram mouse, that would have been so much nicer. And speaking of the indicator, I don't feel like this huge light was really necessary for this small of a button. I feel like if you had a small little dot, like a little indicator right up here, that would be fine. That'd be what? Barely a gram. But to illuminate this, I'm not too sure how much weight it adds on. But I do feel like RGB just isn't necessary. And if I can just put my 2 cents into their next mouse, their MVP that I pre-ordered, I feel like just ditch the RGB. It's 75 grams. I just really feel like if you can shave off 5, 10, 15 grams, just ditch RGB altogether. On a 60-gram mouse, it's passable because it's 60 grams. But if this mouse and the Superlight could have weighed the same, I would have preferred that, definitely. I haven't been able to go back to my XM1 because I was maining the Superlight and now I main this. It's really hard to go from a really light mouse to a moderate to heavier mouse. But that is all I have to say. Super good product. I'm still going to be maining it for now. I will compare it to the Zowie S2 when the S2C when I actually get it. I pre-ordered it the day it was announced, so I will compare this to that S2 because it's the same shape and it's a revamped version of the S2. So I will be able to make a decision for myself whether the Meta or the S2 is a bit better. But yeah, I just wanted to put this video out there for you guys that want to have a good fucking mouse. But yeah, anyway, hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next upload. Peace.